Alright guys, so the internet is going nuts over this particular gaming headset. And there's a lot of reasons why, so as I unbox it, I'll get into them. So first, it's made for PlayStation, but it also supports PC, Mac, and mobile. I don't even have a PlayStation anymore, so I'm going to be using this on my PC. First, price. It's only $150, and for the type of technology in this headphone or gaming headset, it is almost a steal. And there's one reason why Sony is able to do that is because they bought an audiophile grade headphone company, Audeze. Some of you may have heard about them, some of you may not have, but they make planar magnetic headphones. That's kind of their bread and butter. From what I understand, that's all they make. And I've had their headphones in the past. They had a collaboration with HyperX a while ago, which is now owned by HP. So, I don't know how I feel about this. All the good companies are getting gobbled up by all these gigantic corporations, and many times that doesn't add to good things. But Sony has promised to let Audeze be Audeze, and I think they're just using their technology. So usually when you hear the word planar magnetic headphones, you're expected to pay a premium. But I mean, at only $150, this thing is nuts. And as far as I know right now, this only came out yesterday, and it's been sold out. It's back ordered on Amazon, on Best Buy. I mean, that could change, but as of right now, these are fairly hard to find, and I'm going to find out why. Gaming headsets are incredibly important to me. Not only do I game with it, but in my 9-to-5 job, I rely on these gaming headsets to do my everyday meetings, and I've messed around with a whole bunch of gaming headsets. I just keep searching for the perfect gaming headset that just doesn't exist. I've had some issues with some of the cheaper ones. A lot of times with these dongles, I mean, I'd plug it in and it works fine all the time when I'm gaming, but for whatever reason, when I'm in a meeting with some of the higher ups, like once I was in the call with this chief accounting officer, and my gaming headset just all of a sudden stopped working. And it's been a few of them. I've had the Razer Black Shark, the 2023 model. I like that one because of the microphone. And I even had the Corsair HX80 Max. Right now I'm using the Master and Dynamic MG40. I really do like these. All-time favorite so far was the SteelSeries Nova 7 Pro. But those are $349. They sound excellent, but the microphone is garbage. And I have noticed that having good microphones helps me out with my meetings in terms of intelligibility and people just willing to listen to me more. So microphone quality is important to me. And of course, audio quality is important to me too. So let's just like getting some paperwork and such. And in here, just a regular USB cable. I have a billion of these. I don't need that. And there's something else back here. Let's take a look at what it is. And take a look at this charging dock. I really do like that they included one. So it's from what I've seen online, you just rest the headset on it, and I guess you bolt this onto your, and then you could either bolt this onto your wall or onto your table or something. I don't really have anything like that right now, the way my setup is, but I guess whatever, I could just use USB cables for charging. So I'll hold on to this for a little for now. And let's just take a look at this design. I think this is the third aspect. The design is incredibly unique. I've never seen anything like this. It's definitely interesting. So one thing I really liked about this particular headset is it does have an extending microphone, and there's a mute button right here. I need to be able to mute my microphone on the fly. I usually prefer the type of headsets where the microphone can either lift up and like go down, so I know when I'm up here it's muted, and when I flip it down the microphone is engaged. It just helps get me out of trouble sometimes. But I think I could be okay with having a mute switch right here. And apparently it's supposed to light up, indicating that it is muted. So I wonder how I can, okay, so I could turn this on. Hopefully there's some battery, and there is. So I'm going to put this on for the first time. And yeah, so the problem with this is I can't actually see it, but I have to look down to see if my microphone is muted or not. I still just prefer the ones that flick up and down, but I think I could get used to this just once I'm able to see if I'm muted or not. Okay guys, so I just wanted to do a quick mic test to see how this sounds. It's okay, it's passable. It's not the best I've heard. If you want better microphone quality, I would recommend the Corsair HS80 Max or the Black Shark 2023 model. I think that's the Black Shark Pro. Um, the Black Shark by far had the best microphone I've heard out of any gaming headset. But because of how good this headset is overall, I'm willing to take a slight compromise on the microphone quality. But overall, I think it could be a little bit better. My voice sounds a little bit robotic and kind of like it has like a little bit of an AI character to it. I know there's some very heavy noise canceling going on, and I think that's partially responsible for it. I do wish there was a way to take off the noise canceling. Maybe it might give me a more natural sounding voice characteristic, but for what we got here, I'm able to deal with this. I mean, since it's on my face, let's just talk about the initial comfort. I like it. It's a lot more comfortable than I would have expected it to be. It's bigger than I was expected it to be. I wasn't sure if it was an on-ear and over-the-ear. This is, for me, this is definitely an over-ear. And so this is kind of what it looks like at different angles. Let me know what you guys think about this design. Online, it kind of makes me look like an alien or something from one of those sci-fi movies from like the early 2000s or 90s or something. So I don't care too much about the design though. I mean, I can rock this. I don't care. I'm confident enough. So back to the dongle. I'm going to plug this in. I'm gonna start off by listening to some music. Then I'm gonna game. And then I'm just gonna, I guess if I have any meetings for the rest of my business day, then I'll do those and I'll come back and I'll give you guys some of my impressions. Okay, so it's been about 5 days now since I unboxed this. Initially, I was just gonna do an unboxing and first look, but since I've had this for 5 days now, I might as well just promote this video to full review. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so let's just jump right into the audio quality. Now, I'm about to sound critical and harsh, but I just want to throw this out there that this is only a $150 headset, and at the end of the day, this is the best sounding $150 headset, both in terms of a headphone and gaming headset that I've ever used. So just keep that in mind as I start to pick apart the audio quality of the Sony Pulse Elites. First of all, the soundstage isn't quite as open as some of the larger and more expensive headphones that I've heard. It's because the soundstage isn't as wide, things do sound a little bit more boxed in, and you're never really forgetting that you're wearing a headset. The Arctic Nova Pros and that Sony InZone H9 also did have a wider soundstage. Just the way they're able to design that headphone, also being at a higher price, it made the entire experience sound a little bit more wide open, and that becomes a lot more important when you start messing around with some of the virtual surround sound features that most gaming headsets have. Now, because this is a PlayStation headset, if you do have a PlayStation 5, you can use Sony's 3D audio, but if you're on the PC end, thankfully, you could download SteelSeries GG, and using their sonar, you could turn on the surround sound effect, and it works pretty good on this device. I really enjoyed using it, and I'll get into a little bit more details on the games that I played, etc. But I did find that some of my other sub $200 gaming headsets did a better job in terms of having like a wider sound stage. But overall, I still prefer other aspects of this gaming headset. And speaking of which, let me balance things out by talking about something that I really do love about the audio quality when it comes to the Pulse Elite, and that's the detail retrieval. It's incredibly superb. It's better than most of my $300 plus gaming headsets. The instrument separation is kind of unheard of. Instruments have a great deal of separation to them. So for example, if I'm listening to a most complex track, I'm talking music here, and there's multiple instruments playing at a time, I'm able to individually pick each instrument apart and follow along with the melody to each individual track. It's something that you don't really get unless you start spending $400, $500 for a pair of actual headphones, not just gaming headsets. The fact that this $150 headset is able to do that is really unheard of at this price point. In gaming as well, I'm still working my way through Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm close to the end game. Being able to hear the sound effects with the background music coming through, and it doesn't seem like it's all bleeding together. I hear everything individually, and that was the same thing when I was playing Overwatch 2. A big part of that game is the sound cues from the different heroes. Each special and active ability has a distinct audio cue, and being able to hear all of them over the sounds of the guns and background music, it actually really improved my gameplay. When I heard the enemies, actives, or specials being used, I immediately was able to tell, like, okay, they have a cooldown, so now's my chance to attack. I'm actually able to adjust my strategy in real time in relation to some of these audio cues. And that's something that I only get from my Focals, which is like a $400 wired headphone. So Finally, I'm able to just use this gaming headset for just about everything now between listening to music and gaming. So I think one reason why the instrument separation is so good is because the bass isn't overemphasized. They're not trying to crank up the bass like they would in other gaming headsets. And that could be a problem for some folks if you do like that deep sounding bloated bass. I typically don't. I like a more neutral sound, and this kind of gives you that. There is one aspect of the tuning of this headset that I don't really like, and I'll get to that a little bit later on in this video, but overall, I think the bass is nice, strong, and solid, but it's not deep and thumpy like you may be used to with most other gaming headsets. So when you're playing something like Call of Duty or something with lots of explosions, you may feel like there's something a little bit left on the table, but I think once you get used to a more neutral profile, you'll start to enjoy this. There is one more negative aspect that I want to cover, and that's the overall EQ tuning of this headphone. There's a slight bump in the lower mids or the higher register of the bass that I really don't like. I think it helps with games and movies, but it adds a little bit of bloat to music. This was confirmed when I pulled up Gadgetry Tech's review on YouTube. And since I'm referring to his data, I gotta give this guy credit. He's one of the very few reviewers that I actually trust when it comes to reviewing audio products. He's pretty much the Jaretech of gaming headset reviews. But anyway, according to his measurements, there's a bump up in the 80 kilohertz region, which is around where most male voices sit. Not mine in particular, but people with deeper voices, that's around where their voice register might begin. And I did find it a little bit distracting with that little extra blow. It just sounded like some of the tracks did swell a little bit in that region, but it's nothing you can't really EQ out. And I can imagine that a lot of people might prefer it because it just adds a little bit more detail to the mids. So that's kind of where we sit. Overall, it's above the average. I guess in my head, because this was planar magnetic headphones, I just thought this would sound as good as some of those $300-$400 headsets out there. And the fact that I actually have to start comparing it to those kind of, in a way, just shows how amazing this $150 Pulse Elite headset is. There's an opportunity for Sony to make a premium product with these drivers, or maybe slightly better drivers from Audeze, and maybe charge $300 to $400. If that's the case, I'm probably going to be buying that day one as well. Okay, now there are some things I want to mention. So far in my 5 days, I haven't had any dropouts or failed connections. I mentioned in the unboxing, for some reason, when I'm getting ready for a meeting, most of my gaming headsets refuse to connect to the dongle, or the connection was just dropped mid-meeting. I haven't had any issues so far. If anything changes, I'll just pin a comment down below. So overall, am I keeping this? Yeah, I believe I am. I still prefer a lot about the SteelSeries Nova Pro, and I really wanted to try out those new Astro A50Xs. But overall, at $150, you just can't go wrong with these. The imaging, the instrument separation, the overall audio fidelity, the overall comfort, which I didn't really spend too much time talking about the comfort, but I have no issues with it. Only thing that I found is that my ears get a little bit warm when it's on for a while, but hopefully that's something that doesn't bother me long term. Again, if it does, I'll mention that down in the comments. And the mic is passable. I know I didn't cover everything in this review, but I feel like I got all the important stuff out of the way. If I missed anything, or if you have any other questions, just leave me a comment. I usually answer all of them. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.